Hey everybody, this is Bill C, and I have a story for you guys today. Again, every week I will put out a brand new story based on a word given to me by a random generator. This week's word was license, and I think it turned out pretty well. So, this is what I came up with, and I hope you guys enjoy. The two cloaked wanderers traveled up into the mountains, and once the elder deemed fit, the duo stopped. Silent, the wise old woman put down her package, raised her hands, and in one swift motion, tore the earth from beneath their feet. Quickly, a large, rugged arena was formed around the pair, and above them loomed an impending dome. They were completely cut off from the outside world. This will be your final evaluation, Shay. You've done well so far, especially given your age. However, this will determine whether you are fit to join the Order. Pepper will guide you into place. Show me what you can do. Pepper launched herself off of Lady Teresa's shoulders and slowly glided down to the center of the arena. Shay had never really liked that bird. With all of Lady Teresa's powers, she could have created a cool super laser falcon. But no, she wanted to train an ordinary bird and not use up just a single flock. Lady Teresa always wanted to do things the hard way, just using raw materials because they didn't require sacrifices. Nonetheless, Shay hopped down to the center of the arena. Shay was eager to prove to Lady Teresa that she was worth it. She was the first 6-year-old in her class to come this far, and she didn't want to let Lady Teresa down. Once Shay reached the bottom, her hazel eyes refocused on her master. Alright, Shay, whatever you need will be in that box. You may begin. Suddenly, gas begins filling the arena. Shay recognizes the gas from her lessons from Lady Teresa. Jessin fumes. Air mixed with minerals from the Jessin mines. Toxic. Very toxic. Breathe it in for longer than a few minutes, and you'll pass out. Longer than 10, and your body shuts down. Forever. However, miners can use the Ramira trees in order to stay healthy. That must be what's in the box. Some small plants that Shay can use to make a Ramira tree. Shay quickly opens the box, but instead of plants, she finds a small infant with dark hazel eyes. Why is she here? She is here to show me what you are truly made of. You know what must be done. But I can't kill my own sister. Then you'll both die. Shay panicked. She started summoning rocks to try and break a hole in the arena, but Lady Teresa kept deflecting her projectiles. There was no way to escape, and gas kept filling the arena. Why would Lady Teresa do this? Why would she want me to kill my sister? I can't, I won't. Just shut up and think. Ramira trees keep the miners healthy, but how? They have small slits that the air flows through and it filters out all of the minerals, and the trees do, like, tree things. They absorb them, but they absorb them. So what if... As gas continued filling the arena, Shay quickly summoned stones of very specific shapes and sizes. She fit them together like jigsaw puzzles, creating a large box with thin slits on the outside and large blades on the inside. On one side of the box was a large, airtight pipe, and on the other, a small crank. As quick as she could, Shay cranked the crank over and over and over again. The crank spun the blades, sucking air through the slits into the box, but it wasn't fast enough. Shay needed to go even quicker, but she could feel the gas's effects. Her limbs were stiff, sweat was pouring down her face. She couldn't keep up this pace, but all she could think about was just cranking. She needed to keep going. She would not let her sister down. Up, down, up, down, up, down. She peeked just barely enough to see if it was working, and it was just starting to. Faster. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And it was starting to work. Slowly but surely, air ran through the box, through the slits, and the minerals became trapped inside the box, inside the airtight pipe. Shay was filtering the air, and the arena was becoming breathable. Once Shay had finished, Lady Teresa disassembled the arena and menacingly walked over to Shay. With less than an inch between them, she glared at her coldly. Why did you not use the material I provided for you? She was my sister. I would never sacrifice her. Your job was to show me that you had what it takes. If I have to kill her, I don't want what it takes. Exactly. What? You did not kill your sister because you love her. The most important lesson I have to teach you is that every living thing must be loved like your sister. Everyone in the Order must make life and death decisions, but we can never forget the consequences of our actions. We can use our magic to create life, but we must never forget all of the lives we must take in order to do so. The futures of so many will be lost, so we must ask ourselves, is it worth the cost? I presented you with one option, telling you it was the only option. Yet you found others, you carved your own path, you created new options. Now I need you to take this lesson and move forward, knowing that it is up to you to protect all that you can and to create new options. Okay, I understand. But please do not use my sister again. She is the most important thing in the world to me. Deal. Now let's head back. We'll miss the celebration. What celebration? Yours. It's time for the next phase of your training. The two sorceresses started walking, with Pepper flying right above them. Shay heard a small flock of birds start to sing. She smiled and listened to their song as they headed back home. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was so much fun for me to write because I got to world build my first hard magic system. I am a huge nerd, so when books or movies have magic in them, I am all about it. It is just so much fun to play with. However, it wasn't like my first instinct. When I saw the word license, I first thought about like having a mentor-apprentice relationship. So that way the apprentice could pass a test and gain the license that the mentor like had knowledge about. And I thought it would just be a lot of fun if the mentor-apprentice relationship had magic in it. So it was just a lot of fun for me to write, and I'm really happy with it. So, after choosing to incorporate magic, I need to decide what kind of magic it would be, and what role it would play in my story. I need to decide between a soft magic system and a hard magic system. Even though this sounds like a binary choice, most professional media will blend the two together, so it's more of a spectrum from soft magic to hard magic. If you're really interested in that sort of thing, I highly recommend you check out Brandon Sanderson. He's kind of the master of magic systems, so we'll be going over a lot of his techniques in this video as well. On a very general level, hard magic systems have very strict rules. The audience knows what the characters can and cannot do, and seeing the characters work with their abilities to solve problems is the interesting part. The characters have the tools, and watching them use the tools creatively and effectively is where a lot of the tension and interest comes in. Think Avatar: The Last Airbender. Aang can bend all 4 elements, Katara can waterbend, and Sokka has a boomerang. They have very unique and very specific abilities, and watching them use the abilities to move the narrative forward is really, really interesting. On the other hand, you have soft magic systems. In these magic systems, magic is very nebulous and mysterious. You don't know what's going to happen. It makes the world feel really expansive. The drawback, though, is that you can't use soft magic to solve problems satisfyingly in most cases. It might feel like the author is just throwing a solution at the team when they need the team to survive, and withholding it when they want to have tension. A good example is Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. You know he's a wizard. He does wizardy things, but that's as specific as you can get. You don't really know what he can do. You just know he is magical and he can use magic, and that's about it. And that's all he needs to be. It's cool because it makes the hobbits feel small, and it makes the world of Lord of the Rings feel so big, like there's so much to explore. For my story, having a mentor-apprentice relationship where the apprentice takes a test, a hard magic system would work a lot better. So when the apprentice takes the test and comes up with a really creative solution, the audience is really satisfied. You can really empathize with Shay and see her struggle and see her thought process as to why she won't kill her sister. See how she comes up with this really innovative fan filter thing, and it's really satisfying to watch her succeed. If you want a good example of a soft magic system that I've used, I would check out my story number -2, Silence. In there, it's not really the focus of the story, but I do use a soft magic system to allow my character to hover using magnetic fields, and it's much more subtle in that story, but it is a soft magic system, and it makes the world feel really big. For my hard magic system, I tried to adhere to Sanderson's 3 laws. First, how well an author can use magic to satisfactorily solve problems is directly proportional to the audience's understanding of the magic system. Now, I went over this towards the beginning. It basically says that soft magic systems make it difficult to solve problems satisfactorily with the soft magic because the audience doesn't really know what's going on. However, solving a problem with a hard magic system is really satisfying because the audience could have predicted the outcome, or they could have come up with a solution. It's really interesting to see the characters grapple with these problems and come up with these really creative devices to fix the problem. So, in my story, I made it clear that raw materials were free, but living organisms can be conjured at the cost of other living organisms. Once I set out these rules, watching Shay combat the gas in the arena was really interesting and really satisfying once she had created this really cool fan filter mechanism. Sanderson's second law says that limitations are more important than powers. To illustrate this, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you're super strong. Cool, you can lift really heavy stuff, you can fight crime, all that, super cool. But let's say you're super strong only when your eyes are closed. This has some really interesting implications. Do you close your eyes all the time so that you're always super strong? Does this still work if you lose an eye or go blind or something? What happens if you decide to sleep, for instance? Do you crush the bed underneath you? Do you sleep during the day so that you can be super strong when you fight crime at night? There are just so many different avenues you can go down from just this limitation, and it opens up a whole lot of possibilities that the author can play with. So in my story, I chose to put a sacrificial limit on summoning living creatures. So if you summon a living creature, you have to pay for it with someone else's life or a group of lives somehow. This puts a really interesting moral implication on the characters using the magic. Is it really worth using magic if we have to basically kill other living things? Theme! Having these limitations really let you get into the motivations of your characters and understand them on a much deeper level. And it's just really interesting and fun for the audience to see what your characters will do next. Sanderson's third law states that you should expand on what you have before adding something new. Now, there are tons of good examples in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Firebenders can bend lightning, earthbenders can bend metal, waterbenders can bend the water in plants, sweat, and even blood. It feels organic and it feels earned. The audience is really satisfied because it feels like the characters are pushing their limits. So for my story, even though it doesn't really apply to shorter stories, if you can build an arena out of rocks, why not be able to build a giant fan filter out of rocks? It feels satisfying for the audience to see the characters come up with really interesting new ways and really push the boundaries of what they're able to do using just their abilities instead of just throwing in a new power. It feels organic and it feels like true character progression. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, I'm streaming from 2 to 3:30 on Saturdays if you want to get in on the storytelling action. I am also raising money for Feeding America's COVID-19 response. It is a really worthy cause, so I really hope you'll consider helping. These kids really need these meals, so please just think about it. As always, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz, and we'll see where the next story takes us. Thanks, everybody.